Before you make any changes to your website, please watch this video. We're going to be talking about how to do mobile design and how sometimes when you change something on the desktop design of your website, it will affect mobile and you might have to also make adjustments there. So let's jump in. First of all, you are default going to be on desktop view, but if you ever want to see what your website looks on mobile, you can click this mobile view here. Now, Squarespace has something called responsive design, where essentially the system automatically sizes down your website. For example, I'm going to pull up the inspect bar just so we can see what this looks like when it's smaller. So as your screen gets larger and as it gets smaller, Squarespace is going to basically adjust and squeeze things around. That way your design is still legible. However, once you get below a certain screen width, it switches to mobile view, which is actually a different design. This is the reason why on mobile, you might see that things are in different positions, or sometimes even things will be hidden in mobile because there's less room on the screen. Sometimes fancy elements on desktop look cluttered on mobile, so they might be hidden. So the reason this is important is if you change something here, you might not realize that it's shifting things here, and there might be additional adjustments you need to make. So let's do some examples. The good news is that most changes will not affect mobile, but again, it's just really important to be aware of this possibility so you're checking things. So for instance, let's make a couple of changes here. Usually if you make small text changes, that's not going to have too big of an effect. Same if I replace this image, maybe I make this button bigger, etc. So if we check on mobile, great. So this has gotten a little bit bigger, but it's not covering the picture, so that's good. The button still looks good. So in this case, we're okay. Now, let's say you were doing a little bit of a larger change. Let's say you wanted to add a second image. I'll grab just a random photo. And so maybe you decide you want a second image, you want the image to be here, and maybe you move your button so it's over here. All right, so great. Now you have that second photo that you wanted. If we go to mobile, you're going to see that this has basically Squarespace has thrown the photo on, but the layout is not like it is on desktop. It looks a little bit weird right now. So this is an example of when you might want to adjust it a little bit to make it look more similar to what it was before, a little bit more cleaner. You can see that this has shifted up, so his head gets cut off. We're going to want to fix that. Great. So this is an example of when you make a larger change, you can often need to go to mobile view to make just a little bit of tweaks. That way it doesn't look really weird on an iPhone. Let's do another example. Let's say that I want to maybe add a second call to action. Maybe I have 2 pages I want people to go to. Okay. And then maybe I don't want this image, or maybe I want these images here instead. Cool, so I've made these adjustments. And again, once you're done making your edits, gonna hop over to mobile and see how it looks. All right, so we start with text. Great. Okay, we can see the buttons are a different size, so we're gonna adjust that. And you can see here actually that I have the images hidden on mobile. So here we had photos to the left and right of the text, but on mobile there's not room for that. And so what I did was I actually hid those images because they made it feel a little cluttered. So let me show you how to do that. So for instance, in this first section, we added this photo to desktop. Maybe we don't like it on mobile. Maybe we feel like it's too cluttered. You don't like that it takes so long to get down to the text. If you hover over this layers button and click it, it's going to show you every item that is in this small section of your page. And so if I want to hide this image, I click this little eye icon, and it's going to go ahead and make that hidden only on mobile. If you think this looks a little bit cleaner. I'm going to give one more example just because this is really so important. I don't want any mobile changes to surprise you. So for this one, maybe we like this information. Maybe I have some additional information I want to add. So maybe I decide to add a second photo. Let's pretend this is a different photo of me. And I'm like, hey, I have some more information now that I want to share with you guys. So I would put my new text here. And then maybe I want my call to action button to be at the bottom. Okay. So now we have the section, picture text, another picture, more text, button. Let's see how that looks on mobile. Okay, so we have title, photo, text. This was the original layout. And then we go to more text. So to make this design kind of mirror each other more, again, we have title, then we have photo, text. Let's go photo to break up the text a bit. Then we have the second block of text. And then we don't need all this empty space. I'm going to pull it up as far as it'll let me. And then give the button some space on the bottom. That way it just looks a little bit cleaner, a little more even. And again, when I move things on mobile, that is not going to affect desktop. But if I move things on desktop, it might affect mobile. And then just to finish up, just one more time as an example, let's say for whatever weird reason I don't want this button to show, I just click here, hover over the button, see it's going to highlight. When I'm over it, it'll highlight. Press the I, and that will go ahead and disappear to make my design a little bit cleaner. So again, just whenever you change something on desktop, big or small, I would really encourage you to hop over to mobile just in case something shifted and you want to go ahead and clean it up a bit.